Hi everyone, welcome friends to your Vinyasa yoga flow. I'm Maria and I will be guiding you through this quick, energetic, fun, full body Vinyasa yoga flow today. We won't need any props and we'll begin in a seated position. Just find a comfortable seated position today, maybe crossing your legs or putting one leg in front of the other. We'll take one big inhale as we lift our arms up to the sky and then exhale to rain them down, bring them down by our sides, right next to our hips, coming onto our fingertips. We'll inhale to lift the left arm up to the sky and hold on to the right side of your head, so maybe that right ear, as you bring your left ear to your left shoulder. Keep and pull your right shoulder away from that right ear as you stretch through that right side, and close your eyes here to focus on yourself and on your body. Good. Inhale to lift that arm up and then exhale to plant the left hand on the ground next to you. Take the right arm up to the sky and over to the left side of the room. Bend into your left elbow just a little, maybe walk that hand out. As you find a stretch on your right side of the body, right torso, plug that right shoulder back if you're kind of crouching down. Inhale back up and place both arms on the ground. Beautiful. We'll lift, inhale to look up and exhale to bring the arms back down. Bring your right hand up to the sky and then bring it over, wrap it around the head, grabbing onto that left ear, taking the right ear to the right shoulder. Pull your left ear away from your left shoulder, stretching through that right side of the neck, that right shoulder. Maybe you feel that stretch going down through your arm, through your forearm, and into your fingertips. Good, and then release, bring that right hand, that right palm flat on the ground. We'll take an inhale to bring the left arm up and over, bending into that right elbow. Beautiful. And then on your next inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. And then this time when you exhale, bring your right hand to the opposite knee, so to the left knee, and then your left arm goes behind you to find a gentle twist. Inhale to reach the crown of the head up to the sky. Exhale to twist a little deeper. Keeping your shoulders away from your ears here. Good, and we'll come back up the same way we came in, so arms up to the sky as we turn back to center. And then take one big inhale, and then exhale, release your left hand down to your left knee. Right fingertips come onto the floor behind you as you find a gentle twist to your right side. Inhale, lift to find the length. Exhale, twist a little more and create a little more space in the neck, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Good. On your next inhale, we'll raise both arms up to the sky and then turn back to center. We're going to release our arms, our hands down any way you want, and we're going to rock on to our hands and knees for a tabletop position. Stacking your shoulders over your wrist and your hips over your knees. You're going to come into some cat-cow, so drop your belly, lift the chin, lift the gaze, lift the tailbone. Inhale, exhale to round the back, tuck the chin into the neck, and inhale to drop the belly, pull the shoulders away from the ears as we lift the heart up and through. Exhale to tuck the tailbone under, tuck the chin to the chest and push away from the mat, letting the shoulder blades expand to either side of your body when you come into a cat pose. Inhale to lift the tailbone, drop the ribs. And exhale to round through, pulling your navel back in towards your spine. On your next inhale, we'll come back to neutral position. Walk your arms and your hands up onto your mat a little bit, to the front of your mat, and then drop your elbows and slowly sink your head coming into puppy pose. So keeping your knees directly underneath your hips here. Press into the palms, press into the forearms. Pull the elbows toward one another to keep that stability here. Option to come onto your chin for an added stretch. Use the breath here to help you find your center, to help you keep stable. Stretching through and opening through that upper back, letting the heart relax toward the ground. Press your palms and your forearms into the mat even more, pulling your elbows toward one another. As you shift forward, bringing your shoulders over top of your elbows, sinking your hips and your lower belly onto the mat, coming into Sphinx pose. Press your hips into the mat, point your toes towards the back of the room, and press the tops of your feet into the mat as well. Pull the shoulders away from the ears, creating space in the neck. Inhale and exhale to walk the elbows wide and lower all the way onto the ground. Bring your hands by your ribs or underneath your shoulders, pulling and hugging the elbows in toward one another. As you lift your chest, lift your chin, squeeze your shoulder blades back behind one another. And exhale to release back onto the ground. This time interlace your hands behind your back, or option to just let them float and let your fingertips reach towards the back of the mat. On the inhale, we'll lift our chest up, lift our chin, squeeze the shoulder blades together. And exhale to release. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, tuck the toes under, push yourself back up to tabletop position. Lift the knees off of the ground and then push your hips up, coming into downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet here as you settle in. On your next inhale, you'll lift up onto your toes, and exhale, drop the heels over to the left side of the mat, so the left corner of the left side, coming into a gentle twist and a side stretch here. Bend into your knees. Inhale and exhale to extend through your feet. Coming on high onto your toes and returning to center. Lift your heels again on that next inhale. And exhale, drop your heels over to the right side of the room, bending into your knees here. And feeling maybe a stretch through that left side. Inhale and exhale, lift the heels high and return them back to center. On your next inhale, look up to your hands, and exhale, just slowly walk your feet up to meet the backs of your hands on the back of the mat. We'll inhale to halfway lift. Lift your torso, placing your hands on your shins, creating space in the neck, pulling the shoulders away from the ears here. One more big breath in, and then exhale to fold back over your legs, forward fold, keeping the knees bent here. Grabbing opposite elbows, maybe swaying a little bit from side to side. And then plant your hands on the mat, step your right foot back into a high lunge. And we'll just rock back and forth here for a little bit, opening up through the hips. Breathe in. And then exhale, drop the back knee, send your hips back and straighten out through that left leg, lifting the toes, flexing them back towards your face as we flex through this half split. Try to keep your hips stacked above your knees here. Inhale to find length. Breathe into your belly, maybe come out of this pose just a little bit. And then exhale to fold over. Roll back through, bending that left knee. Tuck the back toes under, lift that right knee again. And then bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale to lift your torso up for high lunge. Lifting your arms up. Exhale to pivot on that back foot, bringing your front heel in line with your back arch. That back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Toes point in just a little. Extend your left arms out in front of you and your right arm out behind you, gazing over your front fingertips. Inhale. Exhale, pull the shoulders down and away from the ears. One more inhale. Exhale, left elbow to left knee, extended side angle. Lift your arms straight out. Feel that straight line of energy from the back heel all the way up to the front fingertips. Inhale. And then exhale to reverse the warrior. We'll bring our right hand to the back of the right knee, lifting that left hand up and over. Inhale. To lift yourself back up, warrior two. Straighten out through that left knee. Bring your left hand to your right shin and lift your right arm to the sky, coming into a triangle pose. Imagine as if you're trying to rest your back up against a wall, stacking your right shoulder above your left shoulder. Inhale to lift back up. Turn your back toes, your right toes out 45 degrees. And then start to bend into that right knee, bringing your fingertips onto the ground, maybe lifting onto the right toes, lifting that right heel. Your left toes come and flex back towards your face, coming into a side lunge. Option to rest your heel if you're looking for an extra challenge, an option to bring your hands into prayer position. Walk your hands back to center. Turn both toes towards the side of the mat, so facing alongside of your mat. Fingertips on the ground in front of you. We'll inhale to halfway lift, straight torso. And then exhale to fold over this wide-legged forward fold. Hands on the ground. Big breath in. And exhale, walk your hands, pivot your feet towards the front of the mat again. We'll step that right foot up to meet the left. Good. We'll inhale for mountain pose, circle the arms out, around, and up to lift all the way up to standing. And then exhale to fold over your legs, hinging at the hips, bending your knees here. Inhale, hands to shin, halfway lift. Exhale, fold back over, bending into your knees here. Plant the hands, step the left foot back this time. Coming into a runner's lunge, keeping the back knee lifted here and just rocking back and forth a little so that we stretch out through the hips, stretch out through the legs. Drop the back knee, straighten out through that right foot as you flex your toes back, stacking your hip over your left knee here. Coming into a half split. Inhale to get long, maybe coming out of the pose just a little bit. Then exhale to fold into it. Bending into that right knee. Tuck the left toes under and lift the left knee up, returning to runner's lunge. Bring our hands to our hips and inhale to lift our torso, coming up to high lunge. Exhale to pivot on the back foot, bring the back foot parallel to the back mat. Maybe the toes point in just a little bit. Bend into that right knee, lift the arms parallel to the floor. Right arm comes in front, left arm goes behind, and gaze to the front fingertips. Inhale, exhale, right elbow to right knee. Left arm comes out for extended side angle pose. On your next inhale, you'll lift up for reverse warrior, bring the left hand to the back of the left leg, and then bring your right arm up and over. And then returning to warrior two, straighten out through that front leg, bring the right hand to the right shin or the right floor, and lift that left hand overhead, stacking the shoulders on top of one another. Right heel is intersecting the back arch, or we have a heel to heel connection here. On your next inhale, you'll lift back up, pivot that back foot out 40 degrees, and then bend into that left knee as we bring our fingertips onto the ground, flexing the right toes back towards our face, coming into a side lunge on the other side. Option to drop your heel for an added challenge. An option to lift the arms off the ground and bring them into prayer position. We'll release, walk the hands back towards the front of the room, returning to a runner's lunge, and then lift that back foot and bring it up, step it up to meet the right. Inhale to halfway lift, hands to shins or hands to thighs. Exhale to fold back over your legs, bending through those knees. Start to sink your hips low, keeping your knees stacked directly above your ankles. And then inhale to just lift the torso, keeping the hips seated, coming into a chair pose. Toes can touch or they can be parallel. Inhale, find length here, find stability. Push into all four corners of the feet, spreading all 10 toes, stacking your knees over top of your ankles. Maybe pull that belly away from your thighs as you sink your hips down a little more. Option to come onto your toes and then extend your arms low by your sides. Inhale, drop the heels, straighten out through the legs, mountain pose. Exhale to fold back over your legs, bending your knees here. Come onto your toes, lifting the heels, bend the knees, and sink your hips towards your heels, coming into a seated toe stand. Option to lift your arms for an added challenge, to give yourself a hug. You can tuck your chin. And then release your heels to the ground, your feet to the ground until you come into a seated position. Maybe walk back a little bit on your mat as you extend your feet straight out in front of you, flexing your toes back. Bending your knees here just a little bit. Imagine as if you had a towel that you are pressing and holding onto with your hips, with that crease there, and you're trying not to let that go. And that's our focus today as we come into this forward fold. So we'll lift our arms up to the sky and fold over our legs, keeping our lower belly as close to our thighs and that hip crease as possible, grabbing onto your feet here or your ankles and keeping a little bend in the knees. Inhale to find length, and exhale, maybe fold your neck, let your neck drop. And then roll back up. Scoot your hips back towards your heels, keeping the soles of your feet flat on the ground. Extend your arms straight out in front of you as you slowly roll onto your back supine. Bringing both knees into your chest, and then extend the left leg out, straight out in front of you, flat on the ground. Inhale, then exhale to bring the right knee over to the left side of the room, being guided by your left hand. Keeping both shoulders on the ground, extend your right shoulder out to the right side of the room. And then option to gaze over at your right fingertips. Return to center, bring the left knee in and extend the right one out. Take your right hand and guide your left knee over to the right side of the room this time. Keeping both shoulders on the ground, extending your left hand over to the left side of the room and gaze over your left shoulder. Return back to center. Bring that left knee into the chest. And bring the right knee into the chest as well. We'll open up through the hips, taking our knees up towards our armpits. Hold on to your ankles or the right side of the feet. Your arms are coming inside of your legs. And start to lift the heels, stacking the ankles over top of the knees, coming into happy baby pose. Keeping your shoulders on the ground, keeping your upper body relaxed here as we stretch and open up through the lower body. Option to walk your hands out to the either side of the feet if you are there. Otherwise, you can grab onto the backs of the thighs, you can grab onto the ankles. Pulling those knees up in towards your armpits. Extending and lengthening through the tailbone. Inhale and exhale to release. Bend your knees, bring your heels to your sits bones, and return your knees to center. We're going to extend both feet out to come into Shavasana. Tucking the shoulder blades underneath the heart space here. Tuck the chin in slightly to lengthen through the back of the neck. Relax your forehead. Relax your jaw. Relax the shoulders. And just focus on how you feel. Bring your attention to your breath. And we'll stay here for a few moments. You can stay here as long as you'd like. Or you can roll on to one side. Push up to seated. Bring your hands and your palms together and bring them to heart center. And we'll take one last big breath in together, inhaling in through the nose. And then exhale, option to open mouth to let it all out. And we'll take one big last breath. Thank you so much for joining me, yogis. And we'll take one more big breath in together. Inhale in through the nose and exhale out through the mouth to let it all go, sigh it out. Thank you so much for joining me today, yogis. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you in the next class.